Hi, everybody. It's Erica from In the Company of Cards. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. This will be brief because in about a little over an hour, I'm going to be recording a meeting with conversation with Dr. Lena from Tarot Down Under, and that will be aired tomorrow. So look for that tomorrow. But I did say I was going to come on Friday, so here I am. The video tomorrow will be the weekend video, and then I will be back again on Monday. So I have a few things that I thought I wanted to look at. Again, this will be brief, but I went through my last video's comments and looked at the questions there, and there were uh, three that I thought I would talk to you about. Notice how I say that, talk to you about, because the first one I will not be reading on yet. So the question was, what will life be like in the US if that with Vance at the top of the ticket, with Vance as the president? And so, I mean, the cards can look at anything, right? But I decided that I would not look at this question because it's a hypothetical question. Vance is not in power. Were he to become president, trust and believe, as soon as that news were to come out, I would look at it. I would look at what that presidency would be like and what we were in for. But because it's not a thing, I don't want to make it a thing by giving it power. I am of the belief, the metaphysical belief, that thoughts become things. You've heard me say this before. Anything that you see was first a thought. Even if it's a rock on the ground, it was first thought up by the mind of God, let's just say. So I'm not going to give the question any air. I'm not going to put any air in its sails. I'm not going to put any air in its flame to help it grow. The day that if it ever were to happen, that he became president, I would rush to my computer and give us a sense of what that will be like, but not yet. Hopefully not ever. This was an interesting question. So, I have posited this theory before. I'm not the first, I won't be the last. That whole ear incident, where he supposedly got shot in the ear, was faked. I do believe it was faked. He had that big feminine product pad on his ear, and then a couple of days later, that was gone, and there was nothing, no scratch, no nothing, nothing, nothing. Now, the question that the viewer asked, this was on my latest video, was this. And I'm assuming from the question, and you know what they say about assuming. So maybe I shouldn't assume, but I'm going to assume that this person believes that 47 actually was hit in the ear by a bullet or by shrapnel or something. I don't think anything hit that ear. I think it was fake blood, like that they use in movies, and that the whole thing was staged. However, as the viewer said, if his ear was not shot, which I'm telling you right now it was not, why was someone killed? Isn't that the question of the hour? Because someone was killed. Let me suggest that when we go to a play, like if we're watching a play, we suspend our disbelief because that's what you have to do. You have to pretend that the action that you're seeing in the play is all real, right? So that you can ooh and ah and at the appropriate times. Be moved, right? Experience that cathartic release that we get when we're watching a play and the bad guy, gets his in the end, or when the characters find love, et cetera, et cetera. This was staged like a play, meant to create effect, to cause effect. And the effect was meant to be that we were meant to be impressed with his valor. We're meant to think that God saved him because the bullet could have killed him. we're meant to think that he has some sort of super powers, that guide and guard and protect him. But there's a thing called cinema verite. Like movies that are really realistic. Well, what could possibly be more realistic, may I suggest, than an actual person dying? Doesn't that just make it more realistic? That's my theory. I think that they were willing to sacrifice some random person in the crowd to get killed for the sake of cinema verite, to make it seem like it was a really real thing. That's my theory. But I'm going to ask the cards the question. If his ear was not shot, well, let's take that piece out of it. Let's just ask the question. Why did somebody die that day? Was that Butlerville? Yeah. Why did somebody die that day? And I'm going to let Spirit pick every last one of those cards so that I am not, influencing the outcome by picking a particular card as the central card. Oh, you know what? As an aside, let me just say this. I mean, I have my own sleepless nights just like the rest of you. And I know for me, when I don't get enough sleep, I verge on getting sick. So yesterday was one of those days. I was supposed to have written my Substack yesterday, but I got maybe like 3 hours sleep total. So I will tell you that I spent the whole day not writing my Substack. And this is not sponsored or anything, so don't think it is. But I got this monochrome coloring book. So I spent the day coloring. And I mean, these are some of the pictures that I made. It's all, you just use black ink. That's it, just a black pen. So that the pictures look like that, and then you color the black part in. And I will tell you, it was so meditative. Usually I knit, but I was so out of it yesterday, I couldn't, knitting was too much. What was just enough was being told, color this part black, color this part black, leave that part alone, color this part black. And so I'm saying that to you to say that it's important that we all pace ourselves because this is a lot coming at us hard and fast, and it's a lot. August is going to be a lot, and we're not even halfway through the month. It's already a lot. September more so. So if you need to take a break, if you need to take a time out from whatever your engagement is with the events of these times, do it. So I'm giving you permission. If I can do a coloring book, you can do whatever you need to do, within the bounds of law and good taste, always, right? So why did somebody die in Butlerville? Let Spirit use all the cards, and that's the answer. Why did somebody die in Butlerville? Okay, so the cards are the snake, the ship, clouds, woman, garden. Here's what I think. I think it's literally what I said. This person, random, like they didn't agree to be shot and killed. They were random, but they were sacrificed for the sake of verite, cinema verite, making the whole thing look real. I mean, the fact that the snake is the first card, the snake is trouble, right? So it's trouble that this person died. They needed to make this bad incident, which was supposedly an attempted, you know, A word. In order to make it look really real and make the public believe and make it go forward, they had to do something to cast doubt on whether he was faking it or not. You know who with the ear. So what they did was they they took someone innocent. Now it was a man that was killed, but they I think somebody else was injured. But they took someone innocent and they used them to make the public think that this was a really bad thing that had happened and that it was meant for the president. So the center card is the clouds. It was just to confuse us so that we wouldn't say, who do you believe? Him or your lying eyes? Or that we would say that we didn't believe our lying eyes. Because what do our lying eyes tell us? That once the feminine product was removed from his ear was unmarked. Unmarked. How is that possible? I think that I, you know, things are not always as simple and benign as we would like them to be. It's like when people say to me, when is this all going to be over? Like I'm reading you a fairy tale, and that I'll get to the last page and say the end, and you can wake up from this nightmare. Life's not like that. This administration is not like that. So trust and believe what I'm saying, or not, or not. I do believe that incident was faked. I know somebody died, a real person died, and it was just to create the impression on the part of the public that this was a real thing. Because how much more real, how much more cinema verite can you get than having, like, snuff film action in real time? That's what that was about. So there you go. Then the third viewer question that I thought I would look at before I look at a couple of my own, because this will be quick. A viewer asked, will the United States experience famine because of the farm worker shortage? Let me first hasten to remind all of us uh, that people are starving in Gaza, that it's not famine, it's murder by starvation. It's genocidal starvation. So there's that. I just want to put that out there. I also want to remind us that many people in this country are hungry, and that because of cuts in 45 in the budget cuts from the big beautiful bill, more people will be hungry. Like there won't be probably school lunch programs. I know but that's one of the things that's been cut. So, will we experience famine because of the farm worker shortage? Uh, I'll just ask the question. So, the card for famine is mice, believe it or not. Mice is about lack, disease, etc. Not always, but sometimes, a lot of times. So, we're going to use the mice as the clarifier, and we want to know, will the US experience famine because of the farm worker shortage? Of course, his plan is to create an underclass of people who look like me, people of color, incarcerated for whatever reason, who will be forced to work. He will hold on to their papers. He did this already. He's done that. This is a playbook he's already used, where he had workers in Dubai building his hotels. And I don't know where they were imported from, so to speak, but he held all of their papers, all of their documents, and then he charged them money for their upkeep. But then he paid them less than he was charging them. So they could never get their papers back because the way that they would get the papers back would be to pay him back for all the money they supposedly owed him for their upkeep. I mean, it's a big scam. But if you've got the prison industrial complex right there, full of people of color, and you can lure some of the people that we've kicked out back in, sorry, we didn't mean to do that, you're so valuable, etc., and make them indentured servants, well, then there won't be famine, right? People will pick your crops. But I'm going to just ask the cards, will there be famine as a result of the shortage? Okay, so we're looking for the mice. How do my cards get upside down? You don't read Lenormand upside down, so um, I always try to keep them right side up. Remember, we're looking for the mice. Okay, so this stands for potential famine in the U.S. from a lack of farm workers. Okay, so we have the scythe, we have the crossroads, we have the mice, we have the ring, and we have the card that I pulled some clarifiers on. We have the coffin. Don't love that. But at any rate, it's kind of what I said. He will have to make a decision to come up with a solution to this. This is the card for choices. So he started out going one way, we're going to throw everybody out. But now he's got to come up with some alternative solution um, so that we don't have famine. For one thing, he's going to be doing taco. So, it's a circle. Comes back. He goes, makes a statement, and then he ends up right back where he started. So he's thrown people out. He will have to have them come back in this indentured servant kind of way, um, because that's the only way that he'll be able to stop um, farmers from being ruined, crops from being lost, and hunger. So I drew some clarifiers on this coffin, and they are the tower, the rider, and the moon. And let me just say, as far as, his polling numbers are just going down, 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 down. They will continue to go down. His presidency is, you know, in a coffin, so to speak. Um, this is government. Rider is about news, and then the moon, of course, is about reputation. I think that he will reap some really bad consequences from these decisions that he's making, um, that will cut into his reputation even more. So, will there be famine like there's famine in Gaza? No. Will people be priced out of being able to afford food in their grocery stores? Yes. Will there be farmers who lose their farms? Yes. Will he try to tap dance as fast as he can and do a guest worker program and, I don't know, tell the people in Alcatraz concentration camp that they can have a day pass to pick plums or whatever? Yes. But the goal of both him and Project 2025, again, as I said, is to create this underclass of brown people, black and brown people, who will do that kind of work. So there you go. Um, okay. Just a couple of other questions. Let's see. Oh, so ice. Apparently, this is a couple of questions on ice, and then maybe I'll call it a day. ICE is stepping up its recruitment. And I guess that's because they are planning, well, they need more people. They are planning on sort of blanketing, flooding New York City. I don't know how that's going to go. I'm from New York. I was raised in New York, so New Yorkers, They don't play. They don't play. So I don't think that's going to go too well. But at any rate, they're recruiting because they need ICE workers. And so, for example, one recruitment benefit is or incentive is a maximum $50,000. Here's another incentive: forgiveness or repayment terms for your student loan. And they're trying to tap into the federal workforce, the people who have been fired from the federal workforce. Yeah, we know you had a desk job working for Social Security, but you know, that doesn't exist anymore. So here's a mask and a billy club. Would you like to be in ICE? And we'll give you $50,000. Oh, and do you have any student loans? Because we'll forgive those. So I just want to know, well, okay, so I have a theory. This is not my theory. I've heard it elsewhere. He's trying to create this sort of extra judicial, personal, uh, SS-like police force. That's what I think. So that to control us all. So I just want to know, will people take these incentives? I mean, $50,000 is a lot of money. Having your loans forgiven is huge. Will people compromise their scruples and see green, as in money? And will ICE be able to beef itself up that way? Uh, let's see. So let's see. How do I want to do it? I'll let Spirit pick all the cards. Will these incentives boost the ICE numbers, the masked marauders numbers? Let's see what I get with three cards. Will people start applying? Yeah, no. We have the book, the coffin, and the mice. They don't know how it's going to go. They don't know. I mean, they're getting a little nervous. Is this whole thing going to be a big flop? So, I mean, it's pretty desperate measures when you say we'll give everybody who applies this $50,000 bonus and we'll forgive their loans. I think this is just going to blow up in their faces. Now, as I mentioned, Eric Adams has said, listen, I want to help the administration bring ICE in, but I'm being stopped. So I want to know what will happen if ICE floods, that's the word they're using, if they flood New York City with ICE. How will that go? I'm going to use the whip because the whip would be the card for ICE. How will it go if ICE floods New York? Looking for the whip. How will that go? Okay, so we have birds, we have woman, whip, heart, and scales. I think that the courts would have to step in. I do. I think this is the card for the courts, maybe even the Supremes. This is another card for law, justice. Um, you know, Kathy Hochul, of course, is the governor of the state. So this could easily represent her. But remember that I Love New York campaign that they did a few years ago, and it was a heart. I love New York. New Yorkers love New York. I'm an ex-New Yorker and I love New York. This is not gonna work. ICE will find themselves iced, if you know what I mean. I don't think it's gonna work. And I think that the courts would have to step in and say, you can't do this. Okay. Now, several top and long-term FBI agents have been fired. FBI people are career people, right? I mean, they believe in the bureau. I suspect as a rule they tend to be conservative. Um, but 47 has just fired a whole bunch of FBI agents. Now, why? Well, some of it because they worked on the January 6th prosecutions. FBI agents do not get to choose what cases they work on, by the way. That's just whatever they're assigned, that's what they do. But the ones who ended up working on January 6th prosecutions, now they're being fired. This has created, as you can imagine, a lot of bad blood towards the administration in the FBI. So I would like to know what will be, like I say all the time, when the Bastille gets stormed, you're going to be surprised who's standing on either side of you. Could be on the one side is your MAGA neighbor, and on the other side is the FBI agent that got fired. And you're all storming the Bastille together. Don't be surprised. We are in, I would say, a civil war. It's a cold civil war. It could become a warm civil war, a hot civil war. But for now, I don't think we're on the edge of it, on the verge of it. I think with all of these things that are going on, these new things that he's doing, I think we're in the middle of a civil war. The Texas gerrymandering going on, and then the blue states' responses to that. I think we're in the middle of a civil war that will only get hotter. So, what was I looking at? What will happen? What I forgot what I was looking at. Oh, FBI. Um, yeah. Will that move the needle forward for us or not for us? If he continues to do this to the FBI, he is really not winning friends and influencing people with his actions. So let's just pull five cards for these these separated, we'll call them FBI agents and what they will do. But you know what? Let's pick a card. Let's pick the young man, and that will stand for these FBI agents who have been let go, um, and see how they're going to respond to that. We're using the young man. Brave, you know, steely-eyed and lantern-jawed FBI agents. Okay, so we have you know who pops up, followed by the tree. Here's the FBI agents and the FBI period, the scythe and woman. Okay, first thing I want to say, um, you know, the FBI, the CIA, the Secret Service, they all have, they are all dedicated to their missions. And they're probably pretty collegial with each other. So 47 risks his health and safety because if these are bands of brothers who at the very least if they're brothers within their own organization, they certainly feel like, cousins amongst the organizations. So I mean, he needs to watch his step. These are people who take bullets for him, who protect him, who guide him, guard him, safeguard him. I think that there are going to be people who are really not pleased with him. So, and I think that he has made himself vulnerable by disrespecting the very organizations that um, as a rule, are pro president, pro government, pro Republican, even. He's made himself way more vulnerable with these actions. Here's the FBI and the agents, both the active ones and the ones who have been separated from the agency, fired. And we have the heart, clover, and the garden. People have everybody has feelings about the FBI. I mean, I'm not a fan because of what they did with, but that was under J. Edgar Hoover. I mean, he was not the best guy, but the FBI is a very important organization to the US. And people who are parts of it are, the FBI. Whoa, FBI. I mean, you feel like you're safe unless you're, you know, somebody they're looking for, I guess. Uh, well, we tend to have positive feelings towards them. So people are going to have feelings. The country as a whole, this is like the public, are going to have feelings about perfectly good, um, competent, loyal, devoted agents who should be treated well and respected and appreciated. People are going to have feelings about the fact that they haven't been. So we have the scythe, which is the severing of them from the organization, right? And then clarifiers are the ship, the fox, and the birds. I mean, these are well-trained operatives. If he severs them, which he has done, they've been severed for whatever reason, well, they still have their skills and their gifts, their expertise. And I think that they will use them in service of the greater good, the collective. That's what I think. Uh, you know, this woman, this is 47, having weakened himself by doing this. Clarifiers are the scale, the whip, and the star. This was not a smart move. It probably wasn't even a legal move. And moving into the future, it's going to have a deleterious, means harmful, effect on him. Either literally, meaning that he won't be as carefully protected and guarded, or in the fullness of time farther down the road, it will have an effect on things like recruiting for the agency. But I guess everybody will have been recruited into ICE, so there you go. It's a very bad move, very stupid move. These are people who have a high level of expertise, and they're going to be replaced with, big balls and people like that who don't know anything about anything. By the way, that whole mugging incident of big balls, um, I think I may have read on it. I know I read on it for myself. I don't know if I put it up on YouTube, but I think that was all staged. Again, more cinema verite, because then he can justify um, taking over DC because it's so ridden with crime, riddled with crime. Uh, all right. So apparently, 47 wants to do Andrew Cuomo, the erstwhile governor of New York, who left in disgrace and now wants to run for mayor, a solid. 47 wants to do him a solid by helping him smear, um, lose votes, helping him hurt Mamdani, Zohran Mamdani, who is the elected Democratic candidate for mayoral office. So, you know, in some ways, Cuomo and 47 are birds of a feather. So I just want to know at this stage, and I will be looking at this periodically as we move along, um, uh, I mean, a lot of Democrats are hot on the heels of Mamdani because he's a democratic socialist Democrat, whatever the term is, one of the, democratic socialist. And that presents a threat to the status quo, the body politic. Again, people on the take are not just the Republicans. There are dirty hands everywhere. So I just want to know how Mamdani is looking, whether this hardcore offensive now being assisted, given an assist by who will do him in, Mamdani. So I'm going to use the young man for Mamdani, and with an eye towards what his chances are of winning the mayor's race. Well, I'm just going to say this, that there will definitely be an offensive campaign against him. Um, we have the mountain. This is to stop him. Here's 47 in the mix. Here's Mamdani, and they will try to assassinate his reputation, Mamdani's. So just be on the lookout for that. I've given him money, Mamdani. I think he's a, um, I think he's a great candidate, but they will try to do a character assassination of him. Yes, whether it will be successful or not, I can't tell, but that's what they want to do. And then finally, will Jasmine Crockett lose her seat? She will lose her seat if Texas can get away with this redistricting, this gerrymandering that they're going to do, which is of course racist, because what's new? Uh, I'm going to use the young woman for her. She's in her 40s, but she's got such energy. I'm going to give her let her be the young woman, and I just want to know what her future is. And that'll be it. I will go rest my voice. So before my conversation with Lena, and you can watch that tomorrow. Now we're looking for the young woman, and that will stand for Jasmine Crockett. Okay, so this is Jasmine Crockett, who they're coming for. Whoop! Oh my God, dropped all my cards. Uh, so Sun, Tower, Jasmine Crockett, she's gonna lose her seat. Scythe and Snake. So yeah, she will lose her seat. Um, we'll take one thing at a time, one day at a time, because I will certainly look at her again at a later point because I still think she's got a very, very bright political future on the national scene. But I do think that they will succeed in taking her seat from her. Crazy times. All right, so tomorrow I'll put the video up with Lena, and I don't know what we're going to talk about, but there's plenty to talk about. And I will see everybody on after that on Monday. So you'll see me tomorrow, and then I'm going to take Sunday off because I might need to do some more monochrome coloring in my coloring book in order to have the energy to keep up with all this. But you'll see me tomorrow, and you'll see me again on Monday. And there is a Substack. I didn't write it yesterday, but I did write it today. So if you go to Substack, look for In the Company of Cards, and you can read my latest article. All right, you all take care. Bye-bye.